अच्छा जी, चले, ये भी वो चीज़ है जिसमें ऑब्वियसली आपको पता है हमारा तो कंसर्न है, तो हम तो आपको अपडेटेड रखेंगे। लेकिन एक और चीज़ जो हो रही है वो है बरतानिया के किंग चार्ल्स आज
अपनी 76वीं सालगिरह मना रहे हैं।
76 सालगिरह मना रहे हैं। किंग चार्ल्स जो हैं वो 14 नवंबर 1948 को पैदा हुए थे और दुनिया के दीगर मुल्कों की तरह इस्लामाबाद में बरतानवी हाई कमीशन भी उनकी बर्थडे जो है, बर्थडे पार्टी बल्कि जो है वो बड़े धूमधाम से कर रहा है। और बरतानिया का शुमार पाकिस्तान के यूरोपीय मुल्कों में अहम तरीन तजारती पार्टनर्स के तौर पर किया जाता है। और बरतानिया में ना सिर्फ हज़ारों पाकिस्तानी नौजवान तालीम हासिल कर रहे हैं बल्कि रोज़गार के लिए भी पाकिस्तानियों की बड़ी तादाद जो है वो उधर ही मुकीम है और उधर जाते भी हैं।
बिल्कुल मुकीम है और इस बारे में बात करेंगे कि भाई क्या तैयारी है किंग की बर्थडे की और आगे के क्या इरादे हैं, क्या प्लान्स हैं व्हेन इट कम्स टू कनेक्टिंग पीपल टू पीपल, व्हेन इट कम्स टू कल्चरल एक्सचेंजेस, क्रिएटिव इंडस्ट्रीज़ के लिए क्या प्लान है, ये सब कुछ हम जानेंगे। बरतानवी हाई कमिश्नर जेन मैलगेट हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं।
हेलो एंड गुड मॉर्निंग, हाउ आर यू? थैंक यू फॉर joining us. We know that it's a very busy day for you, but we are very curious to know what is the brilliantly British KPB celebration
because
by
we
the
have
High
been
Commission.
hearing about it.
We have been hearing about it. We are invited to one edition ourselves as well. But you can tell us what's happening over there.
Absolutely. Well, good morning Karachi and good morning wider Pakistan. I'm sat here in Islamabad. I'd love to be sat out in my garden, but I can't because there's so much construction and excitement going off in the garden right now as we're setting up a very big tent in Islamabad for the King's birthday party tonight. We're expecting about 1,000 guests to come and celebrate what is brilliantly British before we move to Karachi tomorrow night to do Actonbury, which is going to be our sort of more music themed version of Glastonbury at Acton House in Karachi. But the one tonight in Islamabad, the theme, as you said, is brilliantly British. And sometimes one of the things I like about the British is I think we like understate. So if someone asks how we're doing, we'll say, I'm quite good, thank you, when we're actually feeling great. Conversely, I'm okay when you're actually on your deathbed kind of thing. So sometimes we kind of forget to go, actually, do you know what? We are a nation of great inventions. We're the country that discovered DNA, invented the steam engine, invented vaccines. We've just had 3 Nobel Prizes for physics and chemistry, and I can't remember the third one now, which is embarrassing. But also, today we are known for our groundbreaking work on artificial intelligence, on our aerospace industries, and still education, universities, and all the stuff that runs through what so many Pakistanis, I think, experience when they think about the UK, including through the great work of the British Council. So I want this to be a night where Britain isn't modest, but actually we go, do you know what? There are lots of things about our country worth celebrating, and in many ways, brilliantly British can go with perfectly Pakistani because the close relations and ties between our
Absolutely, you're talking about close relations, and Homa just mentioned that people have been going and settling in the UK for decades now, primarily medical professionals and skilled and unskilled individuals as well. So, can you tell us about the UK's vision for creative industries, because there's a lot of talk about it now. How it connects to Pakistan, and how can you help and we can contribute when it comes to cultural exchanges?
So I think there are so many things within the creative arts that the UK celebrates. Our economy in the creative arts is worth about £50 billion, and we're expecting that to double by 2030, creating another 1 million jobs within the UK. And because of our ties, so much that is brilliantly British is also perfectly Pakistani. Whether we're talking about films and programmes that are popular in the UK that also do, such as sort of Sherlock Holmes is very popular here, Doctor Who, I know that, quite a few of the artists as well. But Pakistan films like Joyland also got great reception in the UK. So there's kind of a lot of that collaboration there. So the diaspora, I'm always running into British comedians of Pakistani heritage, and I'd love to try and get some of those out here on a tour of Pakistan, for example, as well as some of our great actors. So there is so much to celebrate, I think, within the creative space between our two countries.
let us translate a little bit of what you said to our audience who are watching us. एक तो ये बड़े excited हैं किंग की बर्थडे के लिए और बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त किस्म का एहतमाम जो है वो किया गया है. पाकिस्तान और इंग्लैंड की कनेक्शंस के हवाले से बहुत बात हो रही है. हमारे आर्टिस्ट जो हैं, हमारी इंडस्ट्री जो है, हमारी फिल्में जो हैं वहाँ शोकेस हो रही हैं. हमारा टैलेंट जो है वो बहुत नजर आता है.
कितने ब्रिटिश पाकिस्तानी एक्टर्स हैं उनका भी जिक्र हो रहा है. कॉमेडियंस हैं, स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियंस हैं, परफॉर्मर्स हैं जिनकी रूट्स यहाँ पे हैं.
शोज हैं, वहाँ का कितना काम है जो यहाँ बड़ा पसंद किया जाता है, जिसमें शर्लक होम्स का भी इन्होंने जिक्र किया है. तो बहुत सी चीज़ें हैं जो हमारी आपस में अलाइन भी करती हैं यूके और पाकिस्तान की. इफ़ यू कुड एलैबोरेट अ लिटिल बिट ऑन हाउ डज द यूके's creative sector contribute to its international image, because that is also very important.
I think there's the sort of, in many ways, kind of the boring old diplomacy, which perhaps is a lot of the standard of my life. But actually what people really like is that set of people-to-people links, and that's where the creative industry is coming in. Whether it is, the music, the food. I mean, quite a lot of Pakistan's favourite dishes are also the UK's national dishes nowadays. You're just as likely to get a good curry.
Do you have your favourites too when it comes to Pakistani
Bradford
dishes, which are also very popular in the UK?
Ooh. So I confess I'm a bit of a saag paneer girl. I like the spinach and the cheese.
Oh, nice.
There's a lot of meat in Pakistani cuisine that I struggle with sometimes. And I know saag paneer is not really strictly Pakistani, but this is one I'm going to default to.
A lot of variety as well. Now, since we were talking about, the creative sector and arts and collaborations, wondering who is your favorite Pakistani artist?
I think it's got to be Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan and the new Chain of Light album.
Yes.
So I love hiking, as I think you probably know. And I was hiking up Trail 5 the other day, and I heard this young guy listening to some music on his phone while he was having a rest. And I was like, is that Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan? And he's like, yes. I think quite impressed that I knew who he was. And I said, his new album's coming out on the 20th of September. So this was early in September. And he just looked at me pityingly and he went, Nusrat is dead. And I said, yes, I know. But there are these 4 new songs that have been discovered that were recorded in 1990 with Peter Gabriel, with a UK collaboration. They've been rediscovered. They're being released on the 20th September. You can get them on Spotify.
Yes, they're still trending on Spotify.
And they are just absolutely amazing tracks.
Absolutely. All right, Jen,
they're still trending on Spotify, absolutely.
They are. How does Pakistani diaspora actually contribute to this brilliantly British concept, which you perfectly explained a while ago?
So I think, whether you're talking about sort of Riz Ahmed or Mina Anwar, Adil Ray, the comedians, Zayn Malik. I know Zayn Malik's bigger in the UK than he is here. Jamila Jamil is one of my favourite actresses, who is in many ways much more Hollywood nowadays, but I think there's that sort of steady drumbeat of creative artists, but also some of our business guys and women, our politicians. I know you would say politicians are not creative, but 15 of our newly elected and old MPs have got Pakistani heritage, some of our ministers, including our one of our chief legal ministers. So I think we've just got all of these connections that continue to expand.
But we would say that politicians are very creative and artistic because they know how to mend people's mind. And we have quite
a few of those here as well.
Quite a few of them.
But just since we are talking about artists and all, how about our sports personalities, our cricketers? Because the England team was in Pakistan recently.
And yes, we won.
How did you manage to go to any match? To watch a match?
I had tickets for all 5 days in Rawalpindi. Sadly, I only needed those for 2 and a bit days. England did so well in that first test in Multan, but then Pakistan really came into its own. And in many ways, I'm lucky, right? Because I've got to support the England team as the UK High Commissioner.
Of course.
But it was also so great to see the Pakistani cricket team. And of course, we had 2 players on the England team of Pakistani heritage. Rayhan's grandmother had made it all the way from Mirpur at 81 years old and was sat watching him as well. So again, that just kind of talks about the fusion of the links. But to be honest, it wasn't the greatest time for England, so I'm slightly in denial about it. But the England fans had a great time. There were about 200 who came over, who travel with the England cricket team, and they just had the most amazing time in Pakistan.
We're
Several have not been before.
And finally,
they just loved Pakistan.
Finally, if we could ask you, coming back to the celebration of the King's birthday, now so there's one event in Islamabad, there's another you just mentioned in Karachi as well. Is this in line with the celebrations around the world? So we would be seeing similar celebrations for the King's birthday all over the world?
Or in other, at least, Commonwealth countries?
In Commonwealth countries, wherever, the UK High Commission is?
So we actually have this sort of strange thing where there's the actual birthday and then the official birthday, which are not the same thing.
Yes.
So missions around the world are allowed to celebrate the King's birthday in either June or in November. We decided the weather was a little tougher in June to hold outdoor parties, so we've gone for November, and why not pick the King's actual birthday itself as the way to do it. So most of the other countries celebrated back in June, but we're doing it on the real day, his
Which is actually
birthday.
great, because we are actually getting to celebrate the birthday on the birthday.
Pakistanis will be grateful that you chose November 1, because you're right. It's very difficult in June.
Thank
it's very
you,
hot.
and good luck. I hope you have a lovely, great evening.
Enjoy yourself.
Yes.
अच्छा जी,
Thank you.
बहुत बातें हो गई और सारा एक्सप्लेनेशन जो है और रिगार्डिंग द बर्थडे वो भी बताया गया। अच्छा, ये नहीं मुझे पता था कि 2 बर्थडेज होती हैं।
हाँ, एक मोनार्क की ऑफिशियल बर्थडे होती है, वो जो मोनार्क बर्थडे होती है, वो जो आप सेलिब्रेट करते हैं अक्रॉस द ग्लोब।
वो बर्थडे होती है जिसपे वो
एक्चुअल पैदा हुए होते हैं। एक बस कोई भी मोनार्क बनेगा, एक बर्थडे होगी जिसपे वो सेलिब्रेट होगी, बस एक दिन होगा जिसपे मोनार्क की बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट होगी, लेकिन एक्चुअली जून में, और वो यूजुअली जून के अराउंड होता है। सो जून में यहाँ गर्मी होती है। सो आज जो है वो दरअसल किंग की सालगिरह है, जिसको सेलिब्रेट किया जा रहा है।
अच्छा, मुझे ये बात बड़ी अच्छी लगी और इसको मैं ज़रूर मेंशन करना चाहती हूँ, और उसके बाद हम अपनी ब्रेक भी ले सकते हैं। नुसरत फ़तेह अली खान साहब, मतलब जिनको गए अब कितना अरसा गुजर चुका है, लेकिन जो उनके फ़ैन हैं वो अभी भी फैन है, मतलब कि वो दे कैन नॉट गो बियॉन्ड हिम।
और उनके 4 गाने एक्चुअली अगर आप नहीं सुने तो आप प्लीज सर्च करें, चेन ऑफ लाइट, जो उन्होंने पीटर गैब्रियल के साथ कभी रिकॉर्ड किए थे, जो कि नहीं रिलीज हो सके थे। कहा यह जाता है कि वो खो गए थे और वो दोबारा मिले, वो अब रिलीज कर दिए गए हैं।
अमेजिंग बात है ना कि आप इंतजार में हो कि कोई नया काम हो, लेकिन ऑब्वियसली आप एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि वो तो जा चुके हैं, लेकिन फिर कोई नई चीज़ सामने आ जाए।